Hello and what's up everybody, Thunderbob here, and tonight we're going to be checking out a new VR game. This is Sugar Mess Let's Play Jolly Battle from developer Jellico. This has recently released for Steam, though it has been out on MetaQuest I think for at least a few months. It's kind of like a wave shooter, but there's just a ton of different gameplay here. There's some wave shooters, there's like a minecart level, there's some rhythm sections, there's some puzzle sections. It's relatively short. It seems to be maybe like 2 to 3 hours long, but there's a huge amount of variety in the gameplay, and like there's some replayability where you're going back and trying to get points to buy new weapons and unlock things. So I'm just going to talk over some footage of the various different kind of gameplay types that you run into, and give you my thoughts on the game from what I've played. And this is essentially like the first level, which is pretty much just a traditional wave shooter. You're in one spot, you get a gun, you reload with these orbs that are right in front of you. You have like a rocket you can occasionally use and a healing item. It seems pretty basic. And the main thing that drew me to this, I saw the trailer and I thought it was another like Point Blank clone. Like I did a review of On Point last week, and from the trailer I thought, oh, this just looks like Point Blank again, and it's not at all. There's a story here. There's progression. It's you're not just like picking levels from a list. Let's jump to the second level to show you kind of the variety here. And in between each level, you've got kind of this cool little diorama here where you pick up your character and it like goes to the next world, and then there's like a little bit of story between each level. I could not tell you anything that's happening in this game. The story's kind of nonsensical to me. It's kind of cute that they have this here, but I'm more just into the gameplay and the shooting things. So you could totally ignore this and still get a good amount of fun out of this. And then second level starts, and it's like you're on a mine cart, kind of going through it almost feels like it's a small world type setting. Almost anything you shoot kind of reacts to you. Like you shoot these hydrants, fire hydrants, and like water sprays out of them. You shoot, mailboxes and stuff goes flying. It doesn't seem like there's any like point to it. You don't get any extra points. You don't get any extra ammo or anything. That'd be kind of cool if you had more unlockables, but it's kind of a nice touch. The world doesn't feel quite as static. But it's nice. Like I thought it was just going to be a wave shooter, but the levels are very each one feels pretty unique. Like there's not a lot of repetition. You got like a traditional wave shooter, and then you got a minecart, and there's a puzzle section, there's a rhythm section, all with kind of like really cutesy music going on and art, and it's just a fun little arcade shooter, and that's what comes to mind. It is you'll see it later when we get to one of the boss battles. It totally feels like House of the Dead or Time Crisis by way of like Candyland. And I said this on that On Point video, is I think VR is very well suited to like classic light gun games. And this feels like a kiddie light gun game in VR. My daughter, I gave her a try at this, and she really enjoyed it as well. She's 7, and it's super cutesy, like any young kid probably loved just looking at the world and shooting stuff. But it's also fun enough that me, approaching 40, and a light gun aficionado, I have a Sinden light gun on my wall 2 feet from me, can get some enjoyment out of this. And I'll show you this. There is some unlockables, like you can get different guns using currency that you get when you complete the levels. You can also level up the guns, and it seems like it makes the guns better. I haven't unlocked all of these in my PlayStation yet, but it does give you a little bit more replayability. It seems like, based on the points I'm getting, I don't think you could unlock all of these by the end of the playthrough, but it seems like it's encouraging you to do some replay of the game. And then there's also, you could just play this little arcade game here. It controlled very badly. You physically grab the controls and you hit the shoot and the jump button, but the left stick was like so touchy. It was very, very hard to like get it to do what I wanted to do. And I couldn't progress very far. I don't know if this gives you any like maybe in-game currency or if it's just like a little Easter egg here, but it's got just a nice touch that there's like a full-blown like arcade game inside of this video game. I dig that. That's cool because the system to buy your guns actually looks like an old arcade machine in the background, and then you can actually play games on it. So that's pretty awesome. There's also some puzzles in the game here. This is a simple one here where you're just like pressing these buttons and trying to line up these things to turn them all into ice cream cones. And one nice thing, like if you're here just for the shooting, this will only let you go for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then like this little resolve button comes up and you can click it and it'll just auto resolve. You won't get any points or any currency to unlock guns, but like if you're not here for the little cutesy puzzles, you can totally skip them without much difficulty. And it does feel like an actual light gun, like the mechanics here. This is a boss fight. I think there's like 2 boss fights, it looks like, looking through the list of levels here. It threw me for a loop. Like, almost immediately I was like, this feels just like a House of the Dead boss, where like they identify, or like when you gotta shoot the T-Rex in the Jurassic Park light gun game. But it's kind of cool here, actually. You shoot these targets and it lets you move around the game world, so there's actually some like mobility in the game. And then you started by shooting him, and it took me a minute to kind of grasp all this, but the little red spots are like his weak spots. You shoot them and it like kind of stuns him for a second. Sometimes you have to shoot his arms. Sometimes you have to move out of the way because he'll send like a big blast forward, and that's where you shoot those targets and you kind of get out of the way. And then if you look on the left and the right, there is a track there that's bringing stuff, and if he gets those, like there's some that'll heal him, there's some that'll give him rockets to shoot at you, but if you blow them up, then it actually gives you the health item or the rockets to use back against the boss. So kind of a smart boss fight here. I was pretty impressed, actually, like thinking about that this is like a kiddie, Candyland style game, and like this boss has the same mechanics of some of the big boy, House of the Dead, Jurassic Park shooter. So I was pretty impressed by this little boss fight here. And I didn't have too much difficulty. I beat it on my first go. I am on like the normal difficulty, so you could actually bump this up to hard. And looking through, they actually patched this not too long ago to add the difficulty settings. So it seems like maybe at release, I saw some reviews that were complaining it was almost too hard. So I wonder, I'm on the normal difficulty, if this maybe isn't the same difficulty that was there at release. But there is a hard mode if you want to take this to the hardest difficulty. And yeah, that's all there is to it. I did skip ahead a little bit, but that's the basics of the fight. And then for the next section, you actually get shrunk down, and like if you look up, I'm inside of that robot now, and you basically have to operate on him. And they do that through like way of a rhythm minigame where you're hitting these kind of musical notes with hammers, almost like an arcade style game or a rhythm game, maybe whack-a-moles or a really basic Guitar Hero style game. But I kind of dug this. Like, there's a good amount of variety here to the gameplay. It's not just wave shooter level up to wave shooter. There's levels that are moving. There's levels with rhythm sections. There's boss fights. Like, I'm pretty impressed with this. It is $15 is the normal price. I think it's on sale pretty frequently. And it seems like there's probably about 2 hours of gameplay. So it's like a value to $1 to gameplay time. You may have to weigh that for yourself, but if you're a light gun fan, I feel like this scratches that itch pretty well. And there's not a lot of those games, those arcade-style light gun shooter games in VR that I've enjoyed this much. And the next level is kind of like another traditional wave shooter, guys flying at you just in another stage. It seems like that's the main kind of levels. There's a rhythm, there's the wave shooter, there's the mine cart, and then there's some puzzle levels. And then they repeat a couple of times. I think I'm, maybe 45 minutes in, and it seems like this is probably like a 2 to 3 hour long game. I'm digging it. I'll probably give this another session if I can knock it out, another gameplay session. Let my daughter play some more. But I'll end it here momentarily. I'm pretty impressed with it. If you're looking for an arcade-style shooter, something that's kid-friendly, something you could let your younger child play and not have to worry too much about the content. While also being, fun for the adult who is a big light gun fan. You could go worse for sure. It's available on Steam and the MetaQuest, and I'll mention this is the MetaQuest version running on Quest 2. I'm recording at the same time, and performance was pretty good. Didn't have any issues. If I turn the recording off, it's running pretty flawlessly, and it looks pretty nice. It's one of the better looking cartoony shooter games I've seen on the Quest. So I'll end it there. If you want to check this out, Steam or the Meta Store. And just thank you for watching, everybody. If you enjoy this, I've got a ton of VR content on the channel. And if you like what I'm doing, please like, subscribe, drop me a comment with any thoughts, and just have a great evening, everybody.